Hi, I'm Susie Garden, and this is the Ageless and Awesome Podcast. I'm an age-defying naturopath and clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to bust myths around women's health and aging so that you can be ageless and awesome in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The Ageless and Awesome Podcast is dedicated to helping women through perimenopause and menopause with great health, a positive mindset, and outrageous confidence. Hit subscribe or follow now, and let's get started. Hello, gorgeous one, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ageless and Awesome Podcast. I'm Susie Garden, and this is, I like to think about this as being your go-to space for real talk on perimenopause, postmenopause, hormone health, nutrition, and just enjoying life in your 40s and beyond. So today we're diving into a topic that, I have conversations with women every week about this topic. Many people reach out to me via DM. My friends talk about this, and it's that old chestnut, why you're doing all the things, in inverted commas, eating healthy foods, going to the gym, trying to manage your stress, and you're still not losing weight during perimenopause and postmenopause. Does that sound familiar to you? It is a topic I've kind of touched on in different ways in previous episodes and also on Instagram, but I wanted to do a bit more work on this topic because it still seems that there's a lot of question about it. So if you've ever thought, I'm exercising more, I'm eating less, nothing is changing, in fact, I'm still putting on weight, then this episode is especially for you. And we're going to bust the old school eat less, move more myth that is still being peddled by many medical professionals, many gym professionals, and let's dive into real metabolic strategies that actually work for women in peri and post menopause. So grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's get into it. Some of you might question why I'm choosing to talk about this now. I mean, we're in winter now in the Southern Hemisphere. It's not generally seen as being weight loss season, so to speak. More it's like spring, summer when people are thinking about getting into their bathing suits and into their more revealing clothing. But let me tell you, now is the best time to work on weight loss because there's less parties, there's less social occasions, there's more hibernation and a lot more control over your food. So if you're kind of thinking, is now a good time? It really is. This is when I get quite busy at this time of year when people are actually thinking, yes, I'm going to do it now, and then I am ready to go. Because remember, working on your health, working on your weight, this is something that is a lifestyle change. It's not seasonal. It's not a diet as such, again, inverted commas. This is about a lifestyle change that is for the long term, that is going to sustain you and make you healthier, help you navigate the hormonal shifts of perimenopause and postmenopause. And so I really invite you to consider whether or not now might be a fantastic time for you to actually make some changes. So let's get into this. So let's start with why eating less and moving more doesn't work in women in perimenopause and sometimes postmenopause as well. Because, there's that old myth that I have tried to dispel many, many times, and that is that weight loss is simply a matter of calories in versus calories out. We've heard it forever, right? Just eat less and move more. And this is still very much a belief in many, many different communities. And here's the truth. This advice was never designed for women in perimenopause. It's based on outdated science. In fact, if you're interested, I can send you some science on this. So please feel free to DM me at the Perimenopause Path, and I can send you an awesome review article on why calories in, calories out doesn't work. It is outdated, and often research for these sorts of things is done on young men. So it's not necessarily going to be appropriate for women, particularly women in midlife that are going through massive hormonal shifts. Because as we know, in perimenopause, particularly, the hormones are shifting constantly. Estrogen and progesterone and testosterone start to decline, sometimes erratically. In fact, in the majority of cases, the estrogen in particular is quite erratic. And that affects everything pretty much from, your insulin sensitivity to fat storage, to mood, to sleep. You know this stuff if you're going through it. But if you're still trying to follow the same formula from your 20s and your 30s and you're not seeing results, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because the rules have changed and nobody bothered to tell you. So that's kind of the landscape. So let's talk a little bit more about this hormonal metabolic shift. So in peri particularly, several key hormones impact your metabolism. So estrogen is one of the key ones. And as it declines, fat tends to redistribute. Hello, belly fat. Estrogen also plays a role in insulin sensitivity. And with less of that, or less sensitivity of your insulin, your body becomes more insulin resistant. And when you're getting degrees of insulin resistance, and this happens to all of us as we kind of get beyond our 40s and 50s, it makes it way easier to store fat and harder to use glucose as fuel. So that's one of the main hormones is estrogen, and I'm going to bring up insulin in a minute as well. Cortisol is another hormone that you would have heard of, and chronic stress keeps your cortisol elevated. This messes with your blood sugar regulation. It increases belly fat. It messes with your blood sugar so that you feel fatigued. Maybe you get cravings, and it worsens your sleep. And even if you get a good sleep, you can wake up just feeling sluggish and horrible. And this impacts your willpower the next day. And again, these cravings, because the body was like, oh, give me some energy. Does that sound familiar to you? A lot of my clients get impacted by this. And the third sort of key hormone is, let's get back to insulin. If your body becomes more insulin resistant, then it's harder to manage blood glucose. This leads to cravings, fatigue, weight gain, and if it's not addressed, it can actually put you into prediabetes. It's a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. You definitely don't want to get to that level. And if you do have diabetes and you're listening to this podcast, that's type 2 diabetes, then, there are so many things we can do with diet that can really help manage your blood sugar. And you've probably been told this, but it's worth having a chat because, I've had a number of clients with diabetes that have seen incredible improvements in their blood sugar control, but also their energy levels, also their sleep, and of course the weight loss. That's probably their main goal. But for me, it's the blood sugar regulation is a big deal because that improves your eye health, your kidney health. It reduces your chances of getting multiple infections. It can sometimes lead to amputation. So this is a really big deal. So insulin is really important to be managed. And this insulin management is not just if you have diabetes. Honestly, once you're in peri, you really need to start thinking about it so that you can have a way healthier, way more fun life as you get into the next decades. So what's the takeaway? I guess it's not about eating less and exercising harder. It's about managing your hormones so that your body stops holding on to weight as a protective mechanism, but also it stops holding on to weight just because these hormones are controlling that. So you need to take back the control by focusing on hormones rather than calories. So what else? What are some actual strategies that work? There are 5 key strategies that I use with my clients within the GLOW protocol and also metabolic balance that actually move the needle when it comes to sustainable weight loss in peri and postmenopause. So number 1, personalized nutrition over calorie counting. Instead of tracking calories, instead of tracking macros, focus on blood sugar management. And that doesn't mean you have to measure your blood sugar, though it's really interesting to get maybe a continuous glucose monitor, even do a free trial, or I think it's about $15 or something to do a trial for 2 weeks. So interesting to see how foods are impacting you. So when you want to manage blood sugar, there's a few things that you can do. You need a nice balance of proteins, fats, and fiber-rich carbs at pretty much every meal. Also, eating meals 3 times a day and no snacks will give you better blood sugar balance. Around 5 to 6 hours between meals is the sweet spot. And also a little trick, take 2 bites of protein first. That really helps manage your insulin secretion and tricks your body into thinking you're having a high protein meal, and that reduces that insulin spiking and means that you're going to burn fat more efficiently. When your blood sugar is stable, your hormones can function properly and your body can begin to release stored fat. And I often see when people start working with me within the first week, you will see substantial weight loss just from doing exactly this, starting your personalized nutrition plan and having balanced meals with those breaks, those fasting periods during the day, and the 2 bites of protein first, little tricks like that. I have quite a few little tricks. Also, please stop skipping meals. Please stop it. That for many, many women, intermittent fasting, where you're doing like a 14-8 or similar, 14-10, I should say. I was just adding that in my head. I was thinking when I said it, that didn't sound right. A 14-10 or a 16-8. If you're doing that, so you're eating within either an 8 or a 10-hour window. For many women, from a weight loss point of view, this is not going to be particularly effective. So stop skipping meals. This can increase cortisol. It can muck around with your blood sugar. Just can make things worse. So 3 meals a day, no snacks is my recommendation for managing weight in peri and postmenopause. It's something I've done for many years now. And if I break my own rules, and particularly it's a social thing that will generally be breaking my rules around that, then I really don't feel good, because I know it, and I know why. It's because my blood sugar is all over the shop. All right, number 2, support your liver and detox pathways. We have multiple detox pathways, including our respiratory, our lungs. They're a really important detox pathway. Our skin is a really important detox pathway. Our kidneys, so urinating frequently. Your liver, well, that's a really important one, as is your gut, obviously, with getting our waste products out of the body. And the liver processes our hormones. If it's not very happy, excess estrogen can build up in the body, in the blood generally, and that can lead to mood imbalances like PMS symptoms, and can impact weight. So doing things like adding in bitter greens, that really helps to support your liver. Anything bitter tasting. Cruciferous veggies. So that's veggies that contain sulfur. The liver loves sulfur. So cruciferous veggies are things like your cabbages, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, veggies like that. You can just Google cruciferous veg, you'll find heaps. And sometimes supplements can be helpful. I'm not a massive fan of people taking liver detox supplements all the time. I know there are a lot that are marketed to women in perimenopause and menopause, some big brands. It's not really necessary. You can do a lot through food, but sometimes a supplement can help for a short period of time just to kind of give you a bit of a kickstart. But also drinking lots of water will really help with supporting your detox pathways. And we use a measure of 35 mils per kilo of body weight. That will give you what your water intake generally should be. And you might be surprised how much that is. We cap that up at 4 liters. So if you did your calculation, it comes to like 4.1 or 4.2. Please don't go over 4 liters. All right. Number 3, another real strategy that works to help with moving the needle when it comes to weight loss in women in peri and postmenopause. This is one of my favorite ones, is build muscle, don't just burn calories. As we age, when I'm saying the age, my gosh, just in your 40s, you'll notice it. We naturally lose muscle mass. You may find you have to work a lot harder to keep the muscles that you have, particularly if you're quite strong, quite fit. You've, really worked on that part of your health over many years, and you might think, yeah, no, I'm good. You will naturally lose muscle mass as your estrogen drops, and that lowers our resting metabolic rate. It also impacts so many things. Our bones, particularly important. Also just the way the aesthetics, I guess, of the appearance, helps with insulin sensitivity, increases metabolism. Strength training really is essential. And I have found it. I'm not a lover of the gym, I'll be honest. And I only really do this because I know that it's important. And, I have osteopenia, which is part of that story of me not liking the gym, I guess. And, other than when I was a nurse, a lot of the jobs that I've had over the years have been quite sedentary and involved a lot of sitting. So I think that's probably part of my story as well, and probably many other women that I have as clients. So strength training is pretty much what you need to focus on. There are other things we do nutritionally, but strength training is essential. So really think about what you can do to bring that into your life if you're not already doing it. And please don't be afraid to lift heavier weights. You're not going to get massive. You will not bulk up incredibly, particularly in that age range, 40 plus, but it will really help with balancing your hormones. My fourth strategy is prioritizing rest and sleep. Sleep is so important.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
How would you like to have increased energy, balanced hormones, glowing skin, and your ideal weight in just 3 months? Sounds awesome, right? Imagine having your very own hormone balancing and weight loss strategy totally personalized to you based on your body biochemistry to release excess weight, say goodbye to pesky perimenopause symptoms, and decrease inflammation in your body, which of course leads to decreased inflammaging. That's right, ladies, there are age-defying benefits as well. Oh, and of course, you have me at your fingertips for expert support so you never feel stuck or confused. I love supporting women on their weight loss journeys, and I've packaged up the award-winning Metabolic Balance Program with my signature hormone management system, giving you the Glow Protocol. This 12-week one-to-one coaching program is you and me, nailing down your health and weight loss goals, creating your personalized plan using your blood tests, a thorough health assessment, and your food preferences. And then we get started with me supporting you every step of the way. Even if you've tried everything, even if you have resistant weight and complex medical conditions, the power of personalized nutrition, mindset coaching, and my support is transformational and gets results. And I'm not even exaggerating, even if I do say myself. So if you're ready to embrace feeling like your younger self again, lose excess weight, manage health conditions, and regain your confidence, you can just DM me at Susie Garden Wellness or email me hello@susiegarden.com, and I'll pop a link in the show notes. We've really underestimated, I think, the role of sleep in health. We used to think that would just be about, repair. We knew repair was happening. We knew that obviously you just need rest generally, but now we know that poor sleep raises cortisol. So we know that's going to interfere with your blood glucose metabolism. It also raises ghrelin. So ghrelin, and that is spelled Grelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. So you want to increase your ghrelin, you're going to have increased hunger, and it's just on a hormonal basis. It's got nothing to do with how much food you need. The other thing that poor sleep does is it lowers leptin, and leptin is our satiety hormone. It makes us feel full. So if you've got increased hunger hormone and lower fullness hormone, that is a deadly combination to give you cravings. The lack of sleep gives you fatigue. So guess what? You're going to reach for the simple carbs to give you some energy. You may overeat because your hormones are telling you you're hungry and that you're never full. And this is a problem with weight. So set a bedtime routine. That can be so simple. It doesn't need to be a dramatic entry into bed. Reduce your screen time. Lower the lights after you've finished eating. Consider, maybe having a bath, maybe using lavender essential oil. Maybe a magnesium might be good for you, or an Epsom salts bath. That would be awesome if you have a bathtub. I don't. I wish I did. Sometimes there are some really nice herbal herbs that can help with sleep. All of this, and look at your own sleep. Maybe even measure that over a week. Just track it. Like, are you getting to sleep pretty easily, or are you still awake after half an hour, 45 minutes in bed? You really should be asleep between 10 and 20 minutes after getting into bed. And then are you waking? If you're waking, how often is that happening? What time is it happening? How long are you awake for? Are you finding it difficult to get back to sleep? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel refreshed or do you feel sluggish? All of these things are important. If you're going to go and have a chat to a healthcare professional about sleep, all of these things are important to note. My final kind of strategy, I guess, for managing weight in peri and post-menopause is to manage your stress. Stress isn't just emotional. It's not just, having a bad day at work or having family issues. It's also nutritional. It's environmental. I know when I walk into my office and my desk is really untidy because of myself versus if it's super tidy and clean, it gives me a different level of stress. Even your mindset about things can really influence your stress levels. And some of the kind of things from a nutritional point of view would be under-eating, over-exercising, skipping meals, drinking too much coffee, not taking breaks during the day. And I've definitely been guilty of that, not taking breaks during the day. It was only when I started working down at a clinic down in Burleigh here a few years ago that the clinic owner mandated that we all have 1 hour lunch breaks. And that was a game changer for me. I've never done that, ever. As a nurse, it was 30 minutes, if you got that. When I was working in the pharmaceutical industry, if you had lunch, you just have lunch at your desk. Or when I was a rep out in the field, eating in the car or having lunch with customers. So, I've never really been one to have an hour for lunch, and that just was luxury. So I really try to do that. Sometimes I don't do it, but I really try and take my little dogs for a walk or something like that, just to get me out in the sunshine as well. And what I invite you to do is learn to listen to your body. Like with anything that you're doing, ask yourself, is this nourishing me or is this depleting me? And I often ask this of my clients about exercise, right? Like if you go and do, let's say, a run, for example, do you feel energized after the run? If so, that's awesome. Or do you feel really depleted? And if that's the case, then maybe you need to switch it up and find something that's actually going to make you feel good after you do it. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that is the emotional side of weight gain. And what I find is so many women blame themselves. They feel like it's their fault, that their body is working against them because of their habits, their behaviors. But it's not necessarily the case. Obviously, we have, as women, very complicated relationships with food. There's food as punishment, food as comfort, food as reward. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just perhaps some habits need to be changed a little, but you also need to understand the biology, understand your metabolism, what's going on, because as I mentioned before, you have hormones that control your hunger. You have hormones that tell you when you're full. And if they're not working properly, and this happens a lot in obesity, then, you're really going to be struggling. And it's going to be feeling really confusing and when you're looking at what to eat, because you're just always going to feel hungry. So if you change your mindset, if you shift your mindset from one of trying to control your body to collaborating with your body, with your hormones, with your needs, then everything changes because you begin to choose foods that fuel you, not punish you. You move because it feels good, not because you've got to burn off some calories, because we know that doesn't work, right? So when you begin to trust your body again, that's when the magic happens. And if you're kind of nodding along going, oh my gosh, that's me, that's exactly what I'm experiencing, I want you to know you're not alone. I talk to women every week about this. And this is the work I do every day with women, just like you, through the perimenopause path, through the Glow protocol. Dig into your symptoms, look at what your hormones are doing. And that's not necessarily testing. I can tell a lot just through your symptoms. I create your personalized plan and finally getting you feeling like yourself again. So if you're ready to take that next step, I invite you to book a free peri-weight loss assessment with me. The link is in the show notes, or you can go on Instagram and DM me at the Perimenopause Path. We'll chat about what's going on, see if we're a right fit to work together, and talk to you a little bit about what that would look like. So thanks so much for listening today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you could leave a review. That always makes me so happy. Or share the episode with a friend or screenshot it. Share it on Instagram. I'd love you to tag me if you do that. It makes me so happy. Your support really does mean the world to me, and it helps more women find this life-changing information. So enjoy the rest of your week. I hope it's a good one for you. And if it's not so good, then, just be kind to yourself. I'll be back next week with some more fresh content. Until then, take care. Thanks so much for joining me on the Ageless and Awesome podcast. If you liked this episode, please make sure you click the little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or the follow button if you're on Spotify, so that you get each new episode delivered to you every single week. If you feel like writing me a 5-star review, you would absolutely make my day. If you found this episode resonated with you, head over to my Instagram and DM me at the Perimenopause Path. I would love to connect with you.